April 22nd, 2024. I am Atro Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. I am back. Hi. I missed you.
Why?
Not you. Them.
Cole Radrick with the camera work out here with the pointing. Good job.
I want to listen. I watched bits and pieces of Parkade, biggest show of the year, biggest show of the weekend, arguably. I respect Cole Radrick more than I ever did.
Cole's the best. We love him. Even though he tried to call me out on Spotlight saying that like I ignored him and didn't book him and cancel booking appearances.
I forgot to tell you, after the TNA post show, Jensen and I had a very long conversation about all of that. So I am very much caught up on the lore. It was fantastic. Sorry, folks. We're back. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Jeremy Lambert's here. Plenty to talk about. How are you, Jeremy? How are you doing?
Not true. I don't have to if I don't want to. You can't force me. You can't force me.
Listen, okay. Let me start with the hokey schmaltzy stuff. Thank you everyone who sent kind words, who had anything to say, anyone who sent condolences, whatever you did, I very much appreciate it. I hated not speaking so publicly about what was going on. I know I said in that post that I'm a private person. So for those who don't know, my dad passed away. This was Friday before last, and it was expected in the way that it was a long time coming. So I got to say that the reason why I'm not like, here bawling in front of you is because, I said it in the post. He had cancer for 8 years. It spread to his brain. That was the end game. We had plenty of time together. We had a lot of time to say goodbye. We had plenty of time to be as a family. So I look back at that as the best as I could. So I want to say thank you to everyone who reached out, said kind words. Some of you had sent super chats to welcoming me back. Our friend Kim Gray, money for Joel's return. Praise the Lord. Well, for multiple reasons. Thank you very much, Kim. And this isn't like me saying, please send me super chats and say condolences. No, please don't. If you're really inclined, in that post I made, donation links are there to a couple of charities that are very near and dear to mine and my family's heart and my dad's heart. If you want and you have the means, please support that. Okay. If you're local to your local food bank, please spend some time volunteering there. If they take volunteers, that's the soapbox I'm going to get on. So thank you again. You guys have been fantastic. All those times I was in the bunker, I was back and forth between Ottawa. I was at my folks' place, and it was always to check up on my dad and see how things were going. And I unexpectedly had to go back a couple of weeks ago because it was time to say goodbye. So that's what I did. Went home. I happened to have been already planning to go. So it was a little bit kismet in that way that I was just told, bump your ticket a day, go home, say goodbye. And we did. We're good. Everyone's good. Thank you again. Hello. I'm back.
I'm glad you're back, Joel, even though I thought we had our greatest show ever on Friday.
No,
zero wrestling.
Don't you dare. I popped in at the beginning of that show. You tanked our ratings. You tanked our viewership. I'm keeping track of those numbers, and you know this.
It's Monday, April 22nd, and it's time, after a weekend of giving a full listen multiple times for the Taylor Swift Tortured Poets Department, we are going to give a comprehensive review.
Okay, I'll pull the curtain back. Jeremy and I were talking on Friday. He was like, Joel, I did the best thing I've ever done. And I was just like, what the hell is this? And he sent me that intro. I have to admit, I was proud and I laughed. Then you guys went over 2.5 hours on Friday and did that.
Yeah. I cackled on Thursday night when I put this thing together, that intro. I was so proud of myself putting that intro together. Yeah. Just cackling. The wife was making dinner and she heard me laughing. She's like, what are you laughing about? What have you done? And I was like, I put this intro together for the show. I was like, I'm going to do this full show and I'm not going to talk about any wrestling. And I'm going to be honest to people about it. So look, the ratings, I don't give a shit about that. You know that. We're going to show exclusive footage from All In to pop the ratings today.
About time. Finally, we have our exclusive. We're going to show exclusive footage from the Blue Jays game.
I don't care. I don't care about that. We're here to have fun. I was honest with everybody. Right? It's not like I was like, hey, we're going to talk about wrestling. And then all we did was not talk about wrestling. I said there was going to be no wrestling talk. If you didn't watch, I respect your decision. I totally get it. Totally get it. Sometimes we got to do things for us because I do enough wrestling work and I do enough of this nonsense that if I want to talk about the Taylor Swift album for an hour with my pal Cher Delaware, that's what I'm going to do.
Look, it
I
happens.
love you guys. I'm happy to have Joel back. Now I'm not going to talk about wrestling because I didn't watch that show last night.
By the way, SP3, I know you're in the chat. I see you. Thank you for filling in. Very much appreciated, especially as it was short notice to begin, and I'm glad that you were able to be there and fill in for the last week. That's always appreciated. So thank you for that. Yeah, we had a busy weekend. Wrestling happened. I have not slept very much. I'm exhausted. I'm running late this morning. I told our pal Ryan, you can blame the Jews for this one because I'm currently going to morning services every morning to because I'm technically in mourning. There's a whole Jewish tradition. I'll have to get there. But I left late because Passover is coming too. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be late for the show. So here we are. We're a little late. If you haven't already, you could leave a thumbs up on the video. And of course, you can subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. If you haven't already thought about it, go donate a super chat. Any amount, get your question statement read on the air because we will talk about some wrestling, mostly just TNA Rebellion. I don't think really nothing happened last night, right? Nothing.
Oklahoma City Thunder 1-0, baby. Pulled it out. We're not going to talk about hockey.
No, although
Thunder up.
I'm hoping that you and Jimmy Van, of course, Fightful fame.
I'm going to end up blocking Jimmy Van.
Well, listen, I think you two should put on the wager for Fightful ownership. You should put up your stake in the business.
No.
During the playoffs. Why not?
I bet I didn't think my team was going to win. I didn't think my team was going to win this series. So why am I going to now be like, oh yeah. And like, I legitimately didn't think they were going to win. This was not me being like a pessimistic, oh, I don't know type of thing. Like I legitimately did not think we were going to win the series because we have no goaltending. And it showed last night when we give up 7 goals on 21 shots.
How did both teams suck that bad last night? I guess that's kind of an opening round salvo for most teams in the playoffs. Like there's always that one blowout game one, and then suddenly like defense locks it in and they start working.
Defense was okay. It's just we couldn't get a save. And I knew that was going to be the issue going into the series. Just offensively, we played well. We outplayed them the entire game. They were just 1 save better. I mean, really, they were 20 saves better because we got 50 shots on goal and they got 25 and we still lost. So there were a lot of saves better. But when I mean goaltending, that was my fear going into the series. And I'm gonna look. I blocked people last night on Twitter. Okay, I've made this very clear in the past. I'm gonna make it very clear here again. When I'm tweeting about sports and I'm being very angry about sports, if you want to have kind of a civil sort of conversation about things, fine. I might ignore you. I might respond. If you're going to try to crack jokes or whatever, I'm going to block you. I'm a little bitch like that. All right. I make no bones about it. Again, I will be upfront, honest. Caden knows I blocked Caden. I'll block the wife. I don't like any of you guys when sports is on. I don't want to talk to any of you. Just let me be. Let me tweet through it and let me be. You don't have to. You can block me. It's fine. I said it last night before the wrestling pay-per-view. I said, I'm not tweeting about wrestling. I did 2 wrestling tweets. The typical Danielson tweet, and then I thought the Jericho one was kind of funny. I did 2 wrestling tweets, but I said it before the show. I said, I'm not going to tweet about wrestling. I'm going to tweet angrily about hockey and basketball. And that's what I did. And if you wanted to block me, mute me, unfollow me, completely fine. That's your prerogative. I welcome that. I'd much rather that than you try to crack jokes with me while I'm in mourning over sports. What are we talking about, Joel?
I can confirm the anonymous ITW general manager did
Boy,
say
bless
that
her.
you have blocked her before, not over sports, but over other things.
Yeah, I think she probably like said something about Taylor Swift, and I
Yeah,
was
that's exactly
throwing
what she's
up.
saying.
Yeah.
She posted a
She
gif.
she's gonna get blocked in real life over sports because she unfortunately has to live with me. Bless her.
Are you gonna lock are you gonna lock your room there, the one that you're working in, and be like, you're blocked? And lock yourself in?
No, she last night was a little bit different because like, I got the monitor here. So like I got the sports on this monitor and I got the wrestling on this monitor. And she wants to watch the wrestling, of course. And I'm locked in on the hockey and the basketball. So like she has to sort of watch wrestling and probably not get as excited as she would like to be or anything because I'm over here. We couldn't score for 6 minutes last night, Joel. 6 minutes without a field goal. Couldn't get an offensive rebound.
This was
Chet
actually
Holmgren blocked this shot. Chet Holmgren came up with a big block. Shout out to Chet.
anyway. Let's not be angry about sports. Let's get angry about wrestling. No, let's just talk about wrestling. Here we are. Why Solable welcomes me back. Thank you so much. Says I was missed. I don't know about that. SB3 is okay, but I appreciate it. Says real
You're
quick.
gonna make me talk about wrestling. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here we are. Favorite 90s sitcom and 90s crush. 90s crush was Larissa Olenek, who was Secret World of Alex Mack. That was a big, yeah, that was, I think it was big in Canada, but I think it also crossed the border.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so that was her.
I didn't know the name though. I couldn't, but okay. That's
90s sitcom. I don't know. That's like I was big into Boy Meets World. Olenek also did a thing there. Like the family block, like the Family Matters and Home Improvement. We don't talk about that anymore because one of them is a dickhead. Listen, I'm still a huge Simpsons fan. That was a 90s sitcom, but not exactly because it's an animated series. So those were mine. I know you guys talked about it ad nauseum on Friday
and Wednesday.
And Wednesday. That would make sense.
We did a lot of not wrestling last week.
I get it. Listen, Pile Driver Finisher wants to talk ratings and attendance. So clearly we're not doing that ever.
The attendance was good for the Thunder game last night. 18,000 strong in the building. Sounded very loud. Playoff basketball was back in OKC for the first time since 2019. Sold out arena. It's great.
Crazy. Caden also said super chat saying, I still have not slept after the scrum. He was all buzzed from asking a question to a wrestler, so he's been up all night.
Didn't he quit wrestling media this year? What is happening here?
Doesn't he quit wrestling media like every other week?
Terry Funk's ass over here, and yet he's only like 20.
Terry Funk had talent. And I'm back. So let's. Do we start on Saturday or do we just hop in AEW?
We got to talk about AEW.
Got to talk about AEW. Swerve wins. Danielson has a hell of an outing. Oh, my shoulder. Sorry, I got to make fun of that for a minute. And the show overall was, again, very strong wrestling. This is like the AEW mantra is we're the best wrestler. We're the big boys play. And so Dynasty, unsurprisingly, was a strong show. I wouldn't call it perfect, but again, it's a subjective form of entertainment. There was some stuff I really liked and some stuff that I was like, could have been better. But listen, the main thing we're here to talk about, and it should have been the thumbnail, but I was busy and I was tired last night, is new FTW champion Christopher Jericho.
Should have been the thumbnail.
I thought about it. I was this close because A, I wanted to go to sleep, and B, I just wanted to troll, but I'm like, it's first show back. Let's be good.
Coward.
Next time.
Swerve winning was the big story on this.
Of course.
Good. They capitalized on the moment. They did what they needed to do. There was Swerve talks about it in the scrum of like, you don't want to wait on this stuff because you wait. Oh, don't worry, we'll do it here. Someone else gets hot. Someone gets hurt. You never know. Someone new comes in. You never know what's going to happen. Swerve was the hot guy. They went with him. I think we got to give a lot of credit to Samoa Joe for holding the title these past 4 months. He had a good reign. It was sort of transitional from MJF's long reign to Joe only having it 4 months, but he brought some stability to that title after MJF's run where people were very tired and very sour on it by the end of it. So Joe coming in, he tried to reestablish the rankings, but didn't really do that. But Joe just came in there with a professional vibe of we're going to get back to just doing really good pro wrestling. And we're going to get back to having wins matter, having losses matter, and settling things in the ring and not with song and dance numbers and devil clues and things. And that's what AEW needed coming off the Continental Classic. And Samoa Joe brought that. So I want to give a lot of props to Samoa Joe for really steadying the world title ship. And I don't think MJF's run was as bad as people make it seem in retrospect. The end, it got a little tiring. It just did. But the first half of that run was really good.
Yeah, and I echo everything you said about Joe kind of bringing back that AEW mentality. What brought AEW to prominence in the first 5 years, that was on display. That was something that he put into that title reign and made, like you said, wins and losses matter and everything that you mentioned. When it comes to the MJF stuff, I think a lot of the booking changed because of the injuries that were mounting. And as a result, they kind of leaned into shtick. Did it work for everyone? Obviously not. There's a very big divide as to how that ended. But MJF still played a huge role during his time as champion. They just had to really pivot, and they couldn't pivot it well enough at that point to make his world title finish matter as much, which is unfortunate. That's something that happens in wrestling, right? In WWE, we just saw that happen with Rhea Ripley, and I know you guys talked about it on Monday's show, but that changes the perception of a championship as well when someone has to drop a title just out of nowhere because of injury. And that's kind of what MJF was. He limped to the finish. It's happened before. But yeah, again, going back to Joe, very good title reign, very strong, brought a lot of good vibes back. Now it's Swerve. And what do we do? Because now Swerve is still in his metamorphosis. Swerve is still developing this version of himself. I'm really curious as to how an AEW World Championship reign looks for this guy.
I think they got to get Hangman back as soon as possible, and they've got to go with the Hangman story. Swerve is a babyface, I think. Pretty sure he's a babyface. He's getting sheared like a babyface. Still some heelish a little bit, but not too much in him. Hangman coming back unhinged. Wes Oval kind of says it like just the fact that Swerve is the champion now. You know, he had basically just being like the only reason you accomplished this is because I had to take time off type of thing. Like that's kind of what we need out of Hangman. We need the strong their feud is I don't want them to burn through it too quickly because it's a feud that could be like lasting for many years. At some point, it'll come around where Hangman gets the big victory. That won't be this point because I think Swerve is holding it to at least All In. And I think that's where you've got to figure out the plan. And hopefully they've already have this figured out between now and All In because everybody is ready to just be like, he's holding it till All In and then they're crowning Ospreay. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. But in that time, you have got to make Swerve's title run be meaningful to where it doesn't feel just like we're biding our time until we're crowning Ospreay. And I think a feud with Hangman, because there is that history there, because there is that real blood feud between them, that's probably your best bet.
You know, the more that I think about it, and I know we've talked about it quite a lot with All In being Swerve and Ospreay and the big moment for Ospreay, I don't even think we're there. I'm starting to really second guess that. You mentioned Wrestle Dream is in Tacoma.
Yeah.
That is where Swerve is built from. There's a reason to build to a time like that. Ospreay is, they still haven't done, and again, we have the entire summer to get there, but we haven't done the split from the Don Callis family.
Oh, they got
they can do it, but also you can have it. I don't know. There's a part of me that is wondering if you can hold off for a little while. Do you have, again, it's all going to come down to how Swerve's title reign is. I think the Hangman story is also a big deal for the reasons that were mentioned in the chat and by you. There's just part of me that's like, do you have to do it? Do you have to crown? Does Swerve has to be the guy? Does Swerve have to be the guy that crowns Brian, or not Brian, that crowns Will Ospreay? Does Ospreay have to win this time because he just showed up in the company? Do we have to immediately give him a title?
I don't think you have to. I think that's going to be their play. And in front of that crowd, Will Ospreay is he might be hotter than Swerve right now. And so you don't want to miss the boat on that. And obviously in front of that crowd, he's going to be the most over guy in that building. So what are you going to hold off a year? You're not going to get a bigger crowd than All In. You're just not.
And you're right. And this is why I go back and forth. But in terms of the alignment, Will Ospreay is a very white meat baby face. Swerve, while he isn't, and Will Ospreay,
yeah,
he is. He went to the point where he went to the scrum and said, "I feel so bad about beating Bryan Danielson with this move that you guys don't like me doing that I'm going to stop doing this move." That is a very babyface thing to say, in my opinion. And then you've got Swerve, who is presented as a babyface who's not afraid to bend the rules, but hasn't really bent the rules, as much lately. So it feels like he's even moving to that part of the depth chart. So again, we talked about this. You can have a babyface match, right? They did it with MJF and Cole in their own little way. It was babyface, but this time it's a little more cemented as Ospreay and Swerve as babyfaces.
Yes, they're both technically baby faces. This is where the kind of the divide of AEW I've talked about plenty on this is like most fans just want to cheer for the cool wrestlers, and both of them are very cool.
It's like most of the wrestlers on the card. That was most of last night too.
Yes. So
both these guys.
Technically, they're both baby faces. You can establish one a little bit more than the other. Will Ospreay is gonna be the baby face in Wembley. He just is. Swerve, he's still gonna get cheered in Wembley. So he's gonna get cheered. I don't know, but Swerve can work a heel better than Ospreay because Ospreay can't give up all the shit he does to work heel.
And I don't think anyone's denying that Swerve could turn on a dime, but personally speaking, I wouldn't want to see that just because you have Ospreay on your tail. I would rather see both men kind of be on their own babyface paths right now and develop other heels that can go after the world championship. Again, you have All In as the biggest crowd you can possibly have every year by virtue of running a stadium. And Ospreay being the hometown guy, it makes sense. And like you said, Swerve's going to get cheered regardless. There's just a part of me that's like, do you really have to do that match at All In? And if you do, does Ospreay this time around really have to come out with the title? And
okay,
it feels like yes for fan service, but if there's a larger story that you can tell that's at play, then I don't hate that either.
Okay, then what's the larger story? And if you're not doing Ospreay, let's just say you're not doing Ospreay, period, for the title, what are you doing?
With Ospreay?
With Ospreay, with Swerve, whatever.
Swerve and Hangman, you're talking, because we're talking about that feud, might be a really hot match and a really hot angle. You could run that.
Okay, then what are you doing this summer with Swerve?
Again, that's what I'm trying to figure out in my head. Do you have them go against members? Well, you can't do the Elite because the Elite are not associated with Hangman right now. They kicked him out. Yeah. There is on the Ospreay side, you can go after one of the other titles. I'm thinking to myself, does he really want to go after the Continental? No, but the International Championship, if you want to build that up, you can have him in Strong. Again, this is why there's a part of me that's like, you doing the match with Swerve and Ospreay at All In makes sense from a big match angle. But and just the guy, the countryman coming home and getting a huge cheer, that makes sense to me. The crowning opportunity is right there. But then there's another part of me that's like, but what if the Swerve title reign has legs? What if there's more that you can tell from this? Do you give it to Ospreay and then do Swerve again, Swerve and Ospreay a week later or All Out? That's another thing that's a problem, is that you've got another pay-per-view back in the US a week later. You got to build that. It's a very, again, this is a very interesting situation that AEW is going to find itself in moving into the summer.
I think you do Swerve Hangman to keep things hot with Swerve right now. I mentioned Swerve and Keith. I don't know what Keith Lee's status is. And look, that ship has sailed. Okay. That's just.
Yeah. Can we stop with the Keith Lee Swerve thing? It's just. No. I'd sooner do Swerve and Dustin Rhodes again.
Swerve and Jay White. Okay. All right. I'm not super.
You got to heat up Jay White like a mother.
Yeah. I'm not super mad at that. I think it's Hangman to start with, and then you just kind of maybe Swerve and John Moxley. Moxley did beat him in the Continental Classic. Moxley's also the IWGP champion, so you're not gonna beat anybody there. Well, they're both champions. Nobody's really taken that L, so I don't really foresee that happening. Christian's actually a really good answer. That's actually really good. I hope he's back soon. You got the history with Nick Wayne as well, when Swerve was the bad guy and Nick Wayne was the good guy on that. It's a shame Darby's out, because Darby would make some sense, even though they're both kind of baby faces. Like they've gone with that, but like Darby's such a good baby face that he kind of fits anywhere you want to slot him.
If Darby can make it back by Washington, that's a huge match if Swerve is still champion.
I don't think Swerve. I think they're crowning Ospreay, and I think that's probably the right call, because I don't think you want to hold off a year on it. I kind of get where you're coming from, but I don't know if Ospreay. I don't think Ospreay is going to be as hot as he is right now going into All In this year. Next year, we just saw this with Cody, and people were very worried that Cody was not going to be as hot as he was. Cody, they ended up making it work. Barely, because Rock nearly came in, swung dick, and got Cody out of there. They ended up making it work. It took a lot of finagling, and it did take the Rock coming in, being big time heel, coming off of this as well. I don't think you want to play with waiting a year on Ospreay for this when you have it right here, right now with him.
Again, I think it's a very good point. I think a lot of this it's fluid because of the presentation of both men. This all started for me because I said Swerve is still in development of his current persona. And that's not to say it's not fleshed out. It's just that the full presentation is still it's still being shown to us. And as a result, I'm just like, how do you put on a match like that? And you and I sat here before All In last year, and you were saying to me, this is a love letter to pro wrestling. This isn't going to be this like massive super show that has, the stakes were not going to be as big as they were, as people were thinking it was going to be. And that played out exactly as such. It was a big spectacle match. It was the big circus comes to town. It was a giant glorified house show in some ways. And you could treat All In like that again this year. But I feel like if they really, really want to make All In that moment internationally, then you're going to have to start telling more robust stories going into the show and having bigger moments than just look at this dream match.
Here's where I'm maybe a little thrown off is, how do you wait until All In to go with Ospreay? And what I mean by that is he's come in, he's undefeated, He's beaten a lot of top guys. If you're going to tell me wins and losses matter and you're going to talk about rankings that you don't actually pay attention to, feels like Ospreay should be getting the title shot on Wednesday, not waiting until August.
Again,
that's
undefeated
where
since coming in, right?
Yeah, that's where you've got to kind of figure things out of what kind of company are you going to be with this? Because if you're going to tell me wins and losses matter, and they haven't done much with the rankings, but I just witnessed Will Ospreay defeat Bryan Danielson, who you've propped up as you should. And I'm hearing Will Ospreay and the announcers call him the best wrestler in the world. I haven't seen him lose a match. I've seen him beat top guys. Why isn't he getting the next title shot?
I mean, we know it's going to be like Swerve and Orange Cassidy next. Or Swerve and Trent Beretta. That's probably what you're going to see, because Trent and Orange will do their thing. And like, I'm saying this half tongue in cheek, but like we talk about this very openly, that Tony's favorite wrestlers are the two aforementioned, right? Cassidy and Trent. One of those two men are going to face Swerve somewhere in this title reign of Swerves. And like, they're going to have a good match, and it's going to hopefully move somebody up the level. But yeah, you're right. It's hard to tell, because Ospreay on the rankings, if the rankings matter, he is the next in line. Him and honestly, I'm looking at the roster. The only other person that's like really stood out to me is Roderick Strong, because he's 8-0. He's Okada's another one. You're right. But in terms of just matches, if matches matter, then those are the guys. And of course, Moxley now has the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I think that's going to play in more for Forbidden Door. I think most people can put that together, especially when June comes around. And then after that, maybe there's no July pay-per-view, but there could be something in the midst to do Moxley and Swerve on a big episode of Dynamite.
So people are saying, oh, the Don Callis family is going to screw over Will Ospreay, and that's sort of the story. This is like fine if I haven't seen Will Ospreay beat all of these dudes already. He's already beaten Hobbs. He's already beaten Fletcher. He's already beaten Takeshi. He literally has wins over everyone else in that family. Like, okay, they turn on him because they're jealous of him, but I'm not exactly frothing at the mouth for Will Ospreay against these dudes when I've already seen it. And I know they're going to be great matches. There's no doubt about that. It's Will Ospreay, it's AEW. You're always going to get these great matches. But like, I've seen these matches. I know Ospreay, he's already beat them. Like, there needs to be, and I don't know what it is. I thought maybe this is why Danielson, I always think Danielson should win. But like, maybe there's got to be something for Will Ospreay to fight underneath, because otherwise he's just beating dudes, and then he should probably just go ahead and get this title shot.
Chat's asking, what about Double or Nothing?
I think it's Swerve and Hangman. I think you get there through story. Maybe Hangman is the dude to beat Will Ospreay, by the way. Maybe Hangman is the guy who beats Will Ospreay, to have him have a little bit of a setback as Hangman Page comes in and goes after Swerve to take that title from him. Maybe this guy is the guy to beat Will.
Welcome back, Joel Pearl.
Thank you, Sean Ross Sapp. I appreciate you.
Glad to see you back. Jeremy, great to see you.
Hello, Sean.
How are you feeling?
Brutalized. By the way, sausage or bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle.
Let's go. That's how you start it. That's how the day goes.
I mean, it's been safe the last few days. It's something I know that won't make me sick. It's quick, all that. Not the most healthy thing, but oh well.
Nah.
I feel all right. This is the first time in over a year that I do not have a wrestling booking set, because I agreed to the Shaza match last March. So this is the first time. I will be at Showdown at the Shoreline, I think it is, in a couple weeks. I've got a couple of business meetings there, or in Chicago that Saturday, the day of Backlash, actually. So Phil and Reg will be filling in for me with Denise, and I'll be like popping onto the Backlash stream. But But then I was like, wait, they're doing a show like an hour from Chicago the next day. I'm just going to go to that. And then I found there are some people involved in that show that may see me end up getting booked for that show in some capacity. But after that, I'm not going to travel a ton. But it's okay because you guys can just come to Kentucky and play Jesus golf. That's what can happen.
Set it up. Let us know the dates, and we will be there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know about Joel, but
no, I know Air Canada flies that way. I'm sure I can make it happen.
They fly to Cincy. They do.
Okay.
I wish that they would fly direct to Lexington. I'd be happier than a pig in shit. I would be up there probably every other month if that happened. But yeah, man, I'm exhausted, guys. I went coast to coast in a Rumble yesterday.
God bless.
You did the coast to coast, like the RVD, Shane McMahon?
I probably could have in that ring. I really think I could have. I mean,
14 by 14?
No, I think it was a 16 by 16. If there's one thing I can do, it's jump. Even though I can't jump like I used to. Listen, if Shane McMahon could in his 50s, I certainly can
Watch
in my
quads.
30s.
Just watch your quads, please. I know you do a lot of sitting for work, but like, come on, just don't do it.
I'm gonna. So even if nobody gives a shit, I do a thing after every wrestling booking where I explain how it happened, the details behind it, and all that on Fightful Select. I do that mainly because I report everybody else's exclusive shit. So I'm like, I still might as well do it for me. Even if only a few people care, at least you'll find out the process of how some of these things happen, including me having to work out a spot with a completely untrained wrestler that went totally awry. I'll put it like this. My line of thinking was, well, I'd rather me get hurt than the wrestlers that have to compete next weekend.
Did you, I mean, you watched Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay last night, but was that truly better than Cole Radrick, than not Dr. Death, Steve Williams?
I left before then.
Wow.
Cole Radrick. Listen, I had a show called AEW Dynasty that I had to watch.
You didn't have to.
I did. I just want to say this. Cole showed up late, significantly late.
Wow.
Walked around the locker room. What shirt was he wearing?
Big time in everybody. Cole Radrick.
Can't remember what it
send
was.
this link to Cole Radrick to refute these statements. We've done it before. He has been on this show to refute other comments from other wrestlers.
Yeah, namely Billy Starks calling him a woman.
That was a great moment. Bathing suit. Oh God. So Cole was late. He big time the locker room, and then he just kind of blew everyone off until his match. Told Steve GFY till then.
Sorry, I was a little bit. I was a little bit distracted because somebody saw me say that I would be in Chicago for that weekend. Somebody goes, "Is this to interview for a WWE job?" I'm like, no, it's not.
Are you going to interview CM Punk in Chicago, Sean?
I'm not. I mean, listen. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, somebody saying, "What's Eric Young's status?" Heard he had a severed ear. He told me he was fine.
He was at the tapings. He showed up in front of the crowd last night.
Yeah, he told me he was fine.
Head wrapped like a mummy. He looked like the modern day Maharaja. Not to make it sound racist, but if you look at him, you immediately think maybe that was Jinder first.
I just want to say some of these wrestlers' idea of "I'm fine" is so wild because Big E, the night that he broke his neck, told me he was fine, and he ain't been back in 2 years since then. He was like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm good." I'm like,
yeah, because listen, as long as I can breathe, I'm fine.
True, sure.
All it takes. But yeah, UI's good, minus the severed ear parts.
Yeah.
Myers is the one I'm keeping an eye on, although no spoilers, but like he was a little bit physical last night. He just didn't have the match that he was promoted for.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll see what I can find out there. Boy, do I have an off-air story for you guys.
Oh, looking forward
from
to
Squared Circle Expo. That one just reminded me of. Oh my God. One day I might tell it on the air when there's no fear of legal recourse as a result of what a story. What a story this is. Anyway, yeah, I mean, coast to coast in a Rumble. Cole Radrick was, I don't even know if he was there by then. Pretty sure he was. Because I saw him Everybody was in amazement at my endurance and stamina. And the ring announcer forgot that it was a Rumble and thought it was a Battle Royal and tried to bring out everybody else. And I was like, brother, it's a Rumble.
You weren't sure if it was a Rumble or a Battle Royal before it, so
not before it, but you better believe I clarified it because I produced I attempted to produce the spot at the beginning of the show or at the beginning of the match, and then we had to work out the finish. And hey, if somebody's going to beat me, it might as well be Alexis Littlefoot, one of my good friends. I did a stink face to her. I think it'll probably get about the same number of hits as Rhea Ripley's. I think it
good luck.
Right up there.
Your ass is on the level of Rhea Ripley's, is what you're claiming?
I think my stink face at least is on the level of damage that hers does.
Yeah.
You can take that however you want it.
What'd you eat for lunch that day?
Well, there you go. Alexis Littlefoot did one to me, and I screamed to the audience, I am not convinced that she uses the proper wet wipes. And
doesn't.
Yeah. She flipped me off.
It's kind of something you shouldn't say.
There's a 5'3" guy who really stomped me a lot. I felt like it was height motivated. Like it felt oddly personal.
Well, you got to stop telling people you're so tall because after a while, the short kings will come out for you.
I was one of the tallest people there.
First Hornswoggle, now this guy.
Yeah, it's starting
there's like a 6'8" fella there. He was actually very good. He's probably going to pop up a lot of places soon. He's from Atlanta, but I'm hurting, guys. I'm hurting.
Take the cold plunge. Do you do the cold plunge?
I'm going to do the ice bucket challenge and raise some money for ALS.
Ah, there you go.
That was a time.
That was.
Man, what were we thinking as a society? What were we? It's nice that we wanted to raise money, but
what are we talking about? We were thinking way more normal than we are now. Look at all the dumbass challenges we do now.
I'm wrestling matches for donations now. Dumping an ice bucket seems way better. The last article I ever wrote for What Culture was Vince McMahon doing the ice bucket challenge.
Did he do it? I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but
I'm pretty sure. Vince McMahon ice bucket challenge.
That's a lot of headlines of Vince McMahon on ice.
He sure did. And let's type in What Culture and see if my article still stands. Yep, it sure does. August 16th, 2014.
Wow.
That was a long ass time ago. Good
10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. People think that I just rolled up and Fightful was just, no, here we go. Let's make this an overnight success. I wish, buddy. I wrote for free for a long time. 4 years. But yeah, it was actually a very successful challenge from what I understand.
Good for
everyone was doing it. So
yeah,
I did it. There's video of me somewhere out there.
I did 1.8 million views on my articles at What Culture, and
what's that, like 5 cents?
They didn't pay me for them. They didn't pay me bad. It's just that they had me, or not they. I don't want to say they. What Culture is very nice people. Matt Holmes, the guy who owned What Culture, had me quit all my freelance obligations, all of them, and then fired me 2 weeks later and said, and I quote, "You should get out of wrestling news. You're not good at it."
Wow.
Boy,
take 2 weeks off and quit the business, kid.
Yep. Well, he can suck my ass.
Let's go. Hey, before we let you go, is there pulp in that orange juice or no?
I wish, brother.
Oh, you like pulp?
I love pulp.
Not a pulp guy.
You know what? I'm gonna beat you to a pulp and take that Fightful championship.
That's been a threat for like 2 years now.
At this point, all you got to do is show up. At this point, all you got to do is come to town.
You're trying to keep me out of the country. Maybe the stuff we filmed is better served for In the Weeds at this point.
It might be.
Probably.
You know
what? I'll say this. Rob edited a bunch of it together, and he did it on his own one day. And I was like, Rob, listen, not to get creatively fancy with you, but none of this makes sense in general. But you putting it together like this makes even less sense.
Makes it even better.
Yes.
Listen, there's a Canadian, there's a comedy channel up here, and their thing was time well wasted. That's basically what happened when we did those vignettes.
Sean, is Jimmy Van gonna fire me if I block him on Twitter over hockey?
Probably not.
Okay. I just want to get this out there in case he ends up saying something. You've told the story of Nikita Krylov fan. What's that?
I've muted him a time or two.
You've told the story of Nikita Krylov fan blocking Alex Pulowski because of
great. Or no. Alex blocked.
Yeah,
him.
Alex. Sorry. I did it. I'm the same way when it comes to sports on Twitter, and I don't want to block Jimmy, but
I'm the opposite because people will trash talk the Bengals and they'll think that I'll get like really heated about it. And I'm like, guys, I spend a stupid amount of money on Bengals season tickets. And I do it because it's the only day I know I'll take off. There's like 9 days I know I'll take off of work a year. And that's me forcing it. That is entertainment for me. I have completely compartmentalized that. And as a Cincinnati sports fan, John Moxley has more championships than all of our teams, even the Lexington teams. You throw them in there. In my lifetime, John Moxley has about as many world championships as all of them. So it ain't been a smooth road. You're not going to say anything to me I haven't heard before. Yeah. Need to see how the Reds did this weekend, though.
They won yesterday, pretty sure. I think they actually did really well every time I checked the score on them.
They won. They won. Hey, they swept the series.
Look at that.
I think they did well.
Damned.
How well the Blue Jays do is predicated on how often my A&W app goes off saying the Jays win.
Isn't that a food?
Yeah. They're in a thing with A&W. If the Jays win,
AEW Dynasty.
Yeah. That's right. Danhausen was there, and he was ready to give you a free burger.
Brother, there was an A&W when I moved here 2 years ago, like 2 miles from me, and I was so pumped because first off, they legit have good food. Second off, like craft root beer. Like as soon as you get that root beer freshly made, it's good. And they shut down as soon as I was here. I was so bummed out. They did send me, however, a very small plush A&W teddy bear and 5 A&W bucks.
That you can't use because there's
no A&W.
There's one across town.
I don't know where the closest one is here for us. I feel like it's like half an hour away. And I don't feel
this
like
one literally across the street. Is it expensive?
Okay? Why did a white cat walk in and then when it walked out, it was black?
You got a problem with white cats?
No, but
clearly the
white cat walked in and a black cat walked out.
Yeah, I've got my office open right now. They're just
what is
running around. White cat's right down here.
But they pulled the old twin magic.
Yeah, they did.
On here.
They did. We always say that our white cat, because he's got a little black streak, would think that he's a black cat as a result of that. Like he would definitely think that he is a black cat because he's got a couple of black spots. He'd be like, "Oh, look, we're the same. We're practically twins. Look at us." There you go.
How it goes.
Well, guys, nice seeing you, Joel. Welcome back.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Jeremy, thank you for being awesome.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate everything you do.
What
were we talking about? What were we doing on this show?
I was thinking about how the A&W deal also applied during the Leaf season. They would
go for some food right now.
They were doing $2 teen burgers during the Leaf season. I'm not even a Leafs fan, but a $2 teen burger in a world where those are normally $9 Canadian. Let's go. That's gone though. They don't do it anymore. The Jays win, and it's like you win a 2-for-1 slice of garbage, and you're like, son of a bitch. 180 games, nothing's gonna stick. But anyway, now this is how I find out whether the Jays are doing well this season. Just how many times my app goes off.
Are they doing well?
The app's gone off a few times. The deals have been atrocious for the most part, but it's early days. It's early days.
My wife is offering to bring me food. Yes, will you go to Bojangles for me? That's like
a good one, not the one. Not that one. Go to the one across.
Not the Ohio version, because Ohio sucks.
You can hop the car, go down to North Carolina. Let's go this way.
Someone DoorDash me North Carolina Bojangles.
Pile driver finisher saying, back to where's the storyline? And that's the thing. We're not even talking about where's the storyline so much as we are trying to figure out who's next, not Bill Goldberg. Although Bill Goldberg versus Swerve.
Bro, Swerve doesn't want that.
That's true. Neither does-
Goldberg's like, what's all your shit? Nah, ain't doing that.
I'll move. No, that's Harley. Sorry. Finish, kid. Anyway, where are we? Yeah, so we're just trying to. I think we've talked out what's available to Swerve, and I feel like whatever we think is going to happen, other than Hangman when Hangman's back, nothing is in play. Even Pac, you look at a guy like Pac, that would be a great match for Swerve to have.
He's a
But
giant
Pac
loser.
but he just lost, and he just had a great match with Okada, but he lost. So you kind of you sit there and you're like, you can't fail him up to the world title. You can get a world title eliminator match, but even then, it's like, let's not do that. You got to rebuild Pac over the next little bit if you want to get to that. I don't know where the challengers for Swerve will come from, but
Jungle Jack.
Honest to God, if they play a role where Jungle Jack gets a title shot because they're making up for lost time and storyline, like the EVPs are just like, Jack, you did so much. You deserved better. Here's the world title shot you deserved. And then that's how they do a Swerve versus Jungle Jack. I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate it.
You can easily rebuild. You know, Henry's saying AJ Styles lost is challenging Cody. Yeah, because he won some matches. So it's easy to just have some guys win some matches on television and boost them back up. We're talking strictly of what's coming off of this pay-per-view, and Pac lost at the pay-per-view.
This is always the difficult thing with AEW for me when I give my criticisms, is that I say this all the time. The wrestling is good. Leading into the show, there's often some stories that are going onto the matches that make him, that help me buy in. But then afterwards, I'm left with more questions than answers. And I'm not asking to be hit over the head as to what comes next, but I always am thinking about, okay, so-and-so won, so-and-so lost. How do we play this into the next chapter of the story? On a show where almost every chapter seems to kind of end in a way, it's like Swerve wins, now what? Nobody that I saw earlier tonight makes sense to go after Swerve. So I felt a little like,
everybody's in a title match. All these titles.
That's true. Everyone's in a title match. So Billy Gunn is now going to get a world title match against Swerve. Probably win. Congratulations. The one Billy Gunn is going to win.
Oh, Billy Gunn and Swerve would actually rule, honestly. Billy Gunn still, I mean.
No.
He rules.
No, I will not say. You know what I will say?
Anthony Bowens. Give me an Anthony Bowens single run.
There you go. We did Wardlow already, chat. We did Wardlow.
He's a giant loser, too.
Yeah, he's a giant loser. It crashes his car, shows up, still does nothing to help.
All these dudes are bunch of losers.
Can't believe that. What did you make of Adam Cole getting up, the boot no more? He can walk. Is this a imminently coming back, or is this there's still time for healing involved?
I mean, I have no idea. Hopefully he's coming back sooner rather than later. I'm sure everybody caught that shot of him looking at Wardlow all side eye and everything. I assume MJF might be back sooner rather than later as well. Maybe Double or Nothing for MJF is the return. Yeah, I assume Wednesday Adam Cole will say something and say if he's cleared or not. Wardlow was helpful. Roddy won because Wardlow was kind of helpful there. So hopefully they can. I mean, he distracted a little bit long enough, and
Wardlow was as helpful as Taz was for his son in
the
that
intimidation. Well, no, Taz wasn't helpful because Hook lost. At least Roddy won. So Wardlow did something right.
Oh, Roddy won because Roddy won, not because Wardlow helped.
Well, his pecs were there, and Kyle O'Reilly got distracted. He's like, "Oh shit! I thought you were in a car accident. You're here."
All right, that's fair. You know what? Factual. I will let that go. We got a super chat from Vargov saying, much love to Joel, Jeremy, SRS, and all Fightful. Thank you. Dynasty was so good, except for the FTW crap. How dare you? Okay. Ospreay versus Bryan was amazing. Whose house? Happy's first Swerve. Again, solid show, some really good stuff. Do you want to talk about the Jericho stuff for 10 seconds? Jericho is now the FTW champion. I know that got the goat of a lot of people. I'll tell you now, in my eyes, Jericho doing Lionheart being the throwback to ECW, and this is the closest thing. I said this on Twitter. This is the closest thing to the ECW World Title that he never held, and that he can't hold because it's a defunct championship.
Jericho has won titles in ECW, AEW, WWE, New Japan, ROH, and now FTW.
And I mean, technically WCW. He was
WCW. I thought I mentioned them. WCW as well. This man, he win. All he does is win, 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 no matter what. Everybody in the building, their hands go up.
Oh my God, my favorite part of that entire match, Jericho up the ramp, holding the FTW title, and just kind of being like, I would. And it's
He's
so
a
awkward.
heel. He's getting heat.
Yes.
Everybody, please retire. Go home, Jericho. That's great heat. Great heat.
Going to be great for that 25th anniversary shows they do. Jericho's going to go to
Jericho would 100% show up there.
He would. Oh, he'd probably bring a bunch of Bibles too. But anyway, the point of the whole thing was Jericho gets the FTW title. You cannot keep having Taz get involved without Taz eventually doing something. And so far, Taz hasn't done anything. I see the look on your face is like, well, they can. You're right. They could. And I think that would be a major disservice to a better story. This all comes back to Hook winning back the FTW title.
No.
Okay, let's hear your roundabout. Let's go.
Here's what the story is.
Tell me the story, Jeremy Lambert. Tell me the story.
Hook realizes he was wrong. He realizes that Chris Jericho is the GOAT and he should live under the learning tree. He should be in the Jericho vortex. He should be in the Jericho galaxy. What other stupid things is he trademarks?
The learning tree.
I said that one. I said that one.
The
rarefied air of Jericho. That was the other one.
Shout out to Richard Holiday.
Yeah. Holiday should sue him. That'd be fantastic.
There's Holiday.
He should be like, you know what, Chris? I was wrong. I should have taken your advice. You are the person for me, Chris. And he should give up his pizza and he should give up his chips and he should get on the Jericho diet. What that is, I don't know. Gets you made fun of on NBA Twitter. But he should give up all of these fatty foods that are not good for him. And he should get on the diet of Jericho. That's the next trademark. The Jericho system, everybody. That worked, right?
I like the diet of Jericho.
Okay, the diet of Jericho.
All right. Don't eat those carbs, man.
That's what we're going for. The diet of Jericho. And Hook he comes around on all of this. That's what I'm here for.
Louis mentioning the tree of Jericho should be a real cult with the righteous. Honestly, I'm fine with it. Unfortunately, the righteous will probably not come back any stronger. Oh, if you did, It's Always Sunny.
The Jericho system.
Yeah. But what does it stand for? What does the Jericho stand for?
Give me time. I'll figure it out.
I'm sure chat's going to chime in with theirs. Just everybody reach. I don't know. Man, it's still, the Jericho thing is still incredibly interesting to me because it's just proof that he came in, he was a big deal, and he's finally at a point in this company where the company is starting to get bigger than Jericho is, or at least ran differently than Jericho saw it. And that's not a bad thing. There is now place. This is, again, going back to my Evil Uno interview. I asked Uno why he did the Ottawa promotion, the media, and he's like, I'm local, I'm cheaper. If a guy like Chris Jericho does it, you get Jericho. But I was in a better position to do it locally because I had a passion for the area. And he's right about that. You bring out Jericho because Jericho is a name. However, there are names that are really starting to come out in AEW that should get out there and be doing media. Swerve talked about coming in 2 days early to do stuff for AEW. He comes in, he wants to make the appearances, great. He wants to be the company guy, great. More of those people in that company means fewer Jericho media opportunities. I'm not trying to be like, Jericho, get out of here forever, but like, put him on ice for a bit. Let him go away for a bit. He doesn't need to do media. He doesn't need to be out there. Give him a break.
I disagree. I think we need more Chris Jericho
okay.
on our televisions. He should have an hour-long talking segment on the show.
Okay. All right.
He should be like, we're the best wrestle. We need less of that here in AEW. You should start shooting. Be like, what's wrestling doing for the ratings? Back when I was the champion, look at the ratings then. That's what he should point to.
I was the demo god, and I didn't just say it. I lived it.
I was doing 1 million viewers every week with the championship.
What's this pissant company doing now?
Yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need from old Christopher.
Third hour of Dynamite is an episode of Talking Jericho. Oh, you're being thanked, so that's always good.
I should.
Oh, no one should ever thank you.
We need more. We need more of old Christopher. He's doing great. Great work, Chris. Great work.
Forever FTW champion. Forever the woke Chris Jericho. It'll go back to Hook, and hopefully Taz decommissions the title and is like, well, I learned from that mistake, and that puts the end to the FTW title, and then Hook finally wins the big one. The trio.
You should call it the JTW champion. Jericho, the world champion.
Jerichoing the world is basically what he's been doing with every feud he's been in.
It does rule that like Hook had this great match against Samoa Joe, and people are like, oh shit, Hook, this is gonna rule. And then he just is in a feud with Jericho and loses. Like, shit, maybe Hook ain't that big of a deal. Maybe that match with Samoa Joe didn't mean all that much.
It was more like Jericho was just like, oh, another big star for me to work with? Let's go, Tony.
Jericho should face Swerve. That should be the feud.
Our pal Lawrence from Love Wrestling saying, wait until he interviews one of the Trump kids on Dynamite. Oh, God. That was... Anyway. Chris Jericho is the FTW champion. You can't have a Jericho feud without a Jericho title. Sure. We've got a super chat from Chi-Town Spurs saying, shout out to Tony and Thunder Rosa for bringing the crowd back from the war crime of a Jericho match. That was far better than I expected. Yeah, Tony Storm working a match that was much more Tony Storm and less timeless. And they went hard. The match was good. Deonna Purrazzo gets involved. Luther takes a hell of a bump off the stairs.
Luther's a bumping machine, brother.
Dude has no problem. He's jacked. He's ready. Let's go. Again, match was fine. Thunder Rosa, got the title rematch for the title she never lost officially. So this, again, tied up a couple loose ends, and Tony Storm is still the champion. I'm hoping that they continue with this Tony working this way while still being presented the way that she was on Collision with the promo she cut. I'm a bigger fan of that character than I am just like shits and giggles Tony Storm. But that's just me.
Have you ever smelled a pussy-scented candle, Joel Pearl?
No, we don't get the Gwyneth Paltrow products up here. Or the Nikki Garcia ones, for that matter. When I read that headline, you bet your ass I went back for context. No context needed. It was exactly as advertised.
That speech, that prepared statement, whatever you want to call it, the absolute best. That is a good use of these little jabs back and forth. I'm all for it when it's in media, press conferences, all this kind of stuff. I don't need it always taking up my television time. But with Tony Storm doing that stuff, gonna finish your story. Trust me, I'll never call you into the ring. Taking the little jab at Cody. People want to talk about goosebumps and cinema. Watch a fucking movie.
The irony, and by the way, the character irony of it coming from her
Yeah.
That also made it so much more. Again, for sometimes the shit that we give AEW about, and this is a collective we, not you and I specifically, but people give them shit about the two meta of AEW. This was one time where like the meta was perfectly planned and executed. So I got to put that over because that was so much fun. And like you said, doing it in a presser is to me much more effective and fun than taking up TV time to do it.
I might actually not be too mad about Toni Storm taking up TV time doing this because it's on brand for her. The Will Ospreay stuff, you know, he talked about it in the press conference of how I did love he closed with, "I'm the best wrestler in the world. I don't need to talk about these dickheads below me." And he used dickheads, but I thought it was funnier if I inserted in there. Like if Will Ospreay was doing a press conference, fun. Toni with this character, so good. And the press conference. Her press conferences are great because she just does character stuff and then gets the fuck out of there. She didn't stick around. Love it. Bless Toni Storm.
Yeah. Who's next for Toni?
Who cares? She should hold the title forever.
I mean, everyone's pointed to Mariah May being the finish. And if you do that, that's another all-in match that you can do because Mariah is local, you know, in terms of being from the UK. But that was it was fun. Some people are saying people are tired of the gimmick. On a holding the title level, I kind of agree because the gimmick is not quote unquote, you know, indicative of a champion, but also there's a level that kind of works with that. It does kind of force Willow, who just won the TBS title, and Mercedes to be for the TBS title instead of for the women's world title. But also, it's not such a bad thing to elevate the TBS title in a match that very well could main event Double or Nothing. As we talk about all these matches for Swerve, it really feels like Mercedes Moné having the main event at Double or Nothing is and probably winning the TBS championship. That's a moment in and of itself. Toni can face whoever the hell at that point.
They are wrong in that Toni Storm should not be the champion. They're wrong.
Fair. Again, there are people. Some people feel one way, and some people feel another way. I'm on the fence about it. There are some weeks where I see a promo from Toni Storm, and I'm like, not for me. And then there are some weeks like Collision on Saturday.
She fucks her demons, Joel.
I was saying, like the promo on Saturday on Collision, where I see it and I'm like, okay, this is better. This is something. If you're gonna do it, this is the commitment. This is what I want from it. So I get it. I do. So meanwhile, TBS champion Willow Nightingale.
A demon sex tape. That's the next step for Toni Storm. It's gonna be like a scary movie where the girl has the sex with the ghost. You know what I'm talking about?
It's gonna be Juice dressed up as a demon, painted all red, hair flying everywhere.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I also feel weird talking about people's sex lives here on the show.
I'm not talking about people's sex lives. I'm talking about what was aired on television.
I'm aware of what you're talking about.
She said it. Scary Movie 2.
Yeah.
I forgot which one it was.
They're all the same. They all kind of run into each other.
They're making another one.
Of course they are. They make a whole... Nothing in Hollywood is original anymore. We've established this.
They're making another one.
Roll the footage. All in Toni Storm. It's no, stop it. I'm done. Willow Nightingale captures the TBS championship. Is there anything you want to add other than Mercedes comes out? The challenge is made. The match is set. Double or Nothing. That's why I'm sitting here saying that could easily be the main event. I see some people talking about the ranking system. I see more people wondering the same thing you and I have talked about for weeks is if you knew she wasn't going to be cleared until May, why'd you bring her in March? I know you and Jensen talked about the idea of TD Garden not being available because of playoffs for the Celtics and the Bruins. But at the same time, not every game is a home game. So Mercedes comes in and she's just going to talk until the match happens. I've said it, not her strongest point, but that's the match. The match itself is going to be great. Monet and Nightingale, your thoughts? I was literally trying to filibust while you did the stupid dance. You can stop doing the stupid dance.
I don't have anything to say. It was a good match. Mercedes is there. She stole the spotlight. She did the CEO dance. Okay. I look forward to the match with her and Willow.
Okay. Okay. It's fine. Will saying you're so unserious. Keep going. I'm trying to talk through it, knowing that he's gonna give me a one-liner in this whole thing.
I don't have anything. She's
I get it.
talking. She comes out. She does the CEO dance. It rules. And that's all she's been doing. Okay.
Why no wrestling? Why no No, I'm just kidding.
She'll be cleared for Double or Nothing. That's all you need to know. Don't worry about anything else.
That's the hope. That's the plan. That's the match it sets. I think it could be this. I think it could be the main event. I really do. I think that
Nope.
would be. I think it's a.
Nope.
I do. I do. I think there's a possibility that they make it.
If they have Swerve and Hangman Page on this show,
that's the problem. If you do Swerve and Hangman, then yes, you're right. Then it's not the main event. But I think that there will be a push internally to do this match as a main event.
Nope.
We'll see. We'll see once they get to the main title main events.
They got to put a lot more heat on this match if it's going to be the main event. Because right now it's just it's a cool match, but I ain't feeling this as this should be the main event.
Jeremy Lambert hates Mercedes Moné. Tell the world.
I'm doing the CEO dance.
So is everybody else, whether they like her or not.
She was watching the TV like a WWE superstar
last
night.
She was.
That ruled.
Get your sides on, get your angles. You're
she
good.
should have done the dance while she was watching the TV.
By the way, this okay. I'm going to bring this up because we're kind of winding down on the talk of Dynasty.
We haven't talked about Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, that's why I said we're winding down.
Okay, what? Go.
No, the Jack Perry getting a T-shirt up on AEW shop right away. I hope that on Wednesday the Bucks say we commissioned it, we put it up. This was our call. That's all.
Your crack security team, by the way, you got him after he already pushed the guy over.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, security, get out there. Like, maybe stop him after he jumps the guardrail. I don't know.
Like Jeff Valley Driver, he committed a crime. Believe me, I get it. But now I got to talk about what they decided to do after.
I forgot who he pushed over. If it was Dax or Cash.
It was Cash. It was Bald.
Okay. All right.
Oh, that's Dax. That's Dax. Sorry.
Oh, Dax. Dax is Bald. Yeah. Cash should have got him in a headlock and gave him the old knuckle punch like he did that Bret Hart dude. That would have been hilarious.
Listen, all I'm saying is Sting never looked better. Very fast in the ring, that Sting. Sting Perry.
That's not true.
Oh, listen, did you think for a second that maybe one of Sting's kids was coming back wearing that mask?
No, I knew it was old Jack. Everyone figured it was old Jack.
You didn't think it was Seth Rollins?
No, Seth wasn't moving that well at the end of the Roman Cody match. So it was a good little angle. Everyone suspected it was going to happen. They did it. They did it well, I thought. So I was fine with it. The match itself was good. It was a ladder match for reasons. They tried to do the best they could after trying to follow Ospreay and Danielson. They made it heated. Dax, of course, got cut and everything. Not going to lie, my focus wasn't fully on this match. I watched some highlights, not on YouTube, because AEW doesn't put highlights on YouTube. And for some reason, people are mad at me for pointing that out. But it was a good match. And I like the way they brought Jack Perry back.
Buy the pay-per-view. Why are you so cheap? Why are you such a cheap? Listen, I can tell you why I'm cheap and why I'm upset about it. I'm trying to see if they put up any. Did they put up anything yet? No. Nothing. Nothing. No video.
They should put up Mercedes. They should put up a supercut of Mercedes doing the CEO dance. I bet that would do numbers.
Maybe it would. From last night specifically, or just like in general?
No, supercut. Just like all the times Mercedes has done the CEO dance since her arrival in AEW.
Not answering that question. Yeah, the match, the ladder match was placed in an awkward spot because it was bookmarking the main event and the Danielson match. It was a very tough place to be. It made sense why they made it a ladder match, because they needed a crash and burn match to kind of bookend two matches that were going to be more. What's that? What you
Yes, that is the reason they made it a ladder match.
Let's just let it be the reason. I know I got to do something. Let's just let me have that, I guess. So let me stop doing this over and over again. They had to do something to make the feud hot. Okay, what do you want from me? And it was a ladder match, and Jack Barry came back, and that was it. Danielson and Will Ospreay. Match of the millennia, decade, year moments, everyone's bucket list, 5-star, 70,000 stars in the Tokyo Dome match. We are blessed. Jeremy Lambert, God upon high, came down and blessed the crowd having watched this match. For the Jews out there, they said a Shechianu afterwards. Why did we have to? I don't like I didn't like the platitudes. I didn't like the I didn't love that. The match itself.
Don't pay attention to that then.
I don't, but I like to make fun of the fact that people were like, they were praising it when the bell went off. The match was very good. The match was very solid. The match was a lot of fun.
Very solid. Joel reviewing this match like it was a 10-minute match on Raw. Solid match.
Could it have been? Probably yes. It was a 30-minute match. Listen, you love Danielson more than the next guy, but 17 minutes is your limit. Did you go take a shower, go take a walk around the block? Let's talk about the match for you, because I know this was a big moment for you at least.
This was despite all of I think it actually like timed well where it was taking place during halftime of the Thunder game, so I could really focus in on it. I do agree with Louis. It's not as good as the Jackass match. That's an all-timer.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I do agree with that. Let's face it.
It was one of the best professional wrestling matches ever, thanks to Bryan Danielson. Thanks to Bryan Danielson. Here's why Bryan Danielson is so great. Because in a world where, and I've kind of sort of criticized Danielson in the past of like, oh, do you need to like do fake injury stuff in the middle of the match? He did it in the Okada match to basically get the referee's attention and everything. It's like, all right, fine. I can understand that. He does the fake sell on the Tiger Driver here. And I was like, oh shit, hopefully Danielson's okay. Then you like, even watching it live, I was like, he took that well, like just on his shoulders. He took it very well. Omega took it way worse. Yeah.
Omega took it on the top of his neck, whereas Danielson got it to the bottom of his shoulders. Like he took it. Yeah, you're right.
Omega took it way worse. But here's why Bryan Danielson is so great. Is maybe he's got to do a fake injury thing, and maybe that's not for everybody, and I get it. Why it works though is because Bryan Danielson actually fucking sells something. And maybe in 2024, this is how you gotta sell something, is you gotta go overboard and fake an injury, because every other wrestler in the world pops up and just continues to do their shit after taking the most devastating move of all time. Will Ospreay takes the tiger suplex off the top. He holds his neck for a little while, and then let me pop up and do my hidden blade and do my jumps and all of this other stuff. And he never makes any reference to hurting his neck ever again in the match. Maybe Bryan Danielson is a little over the top with how he has to sell. But in 2024, when everybody goes, and they gain a full health bar back in their match, at least Bryan Danielson still understands the art of selling something and getting people invested into shit. This guy is actually hurt. This guy is actually making these moves feel like they mean something and is actually trying to get you invested into, oh, damn, I hope he can overcome this and get back up off of this. Because everyone else just fighting spirit of, yeah, that kind of hurt. let me just pop up and continue to wrestle as if nothing ever happened. Bryan Danielson, a rare breed of who can actually make you feel invested into the moves of a wrestling match. And I put Danielson there, and I give a lot of credit to Sami Zayn, who also does a very good job of making stuff feel like, oh, this guy's actually in a fight with this stuff. Because 99% of these people just let me take this move and let me pop up 3 seconds later, less than, because that's not the finish. Let me pop up 2 seconds later and just continue on and do all my fancy moves. And I understand that's the way wrestling works nowadays. I get it. It worked to a certain extent like that back in the day. I mean, look, Hulk Hogan made a living out of going with the Hulking up type thing, but he sold his ass off until all of that, until he did his big Hulk comeback, and then it worked. Now, there ain't enough guys actually making you feel like, oh, he's got to fight from underneath here. Oh, that devastating maneuver was actually a devastating maneuver. Okay, maybe Danielson's got to go a little overboard, and maybe people don't like that. Oh shit, is he hurt? I hope he's okay. Bryan Danielson has earned the right to do it, but his history allows him to play off of that as well. And again, a mark of a great professional wrestler, the mark of the best fucking professional wrestler on planet Earth. Not Will Ospreay, Bryan fucking Danielson.
Yeah, but he lost the match though.
It's because
it's Bryan Danielson.
Freaking Will Ospreay needs to take a pinfall. I saw, I think it was Chi-Town Swerve saying that the freaking bicycle knee.
Yep.
When Ospreay goes for the Os cutter.
That was a good,
on
good
point.
tease. Yeah, that was
on point.
And this is the thing, right? The atmosphere of the match was there, right? The crowd was very much into it. Both these guys know how to wrestle. They know how to do the technical stuff. They know how to reverse and do really, really, really cool stuff. And I think what you hit the nail on the head about is the selling. And I think that that's exactly why a match like this really does the trick. And yes, is there overselling? Absolutely. However, when our Fightful Select Discord, where we pull the curtain back, where half of the people are then going into the Ask Sean section and asking, is he okay? Is Danielson okay? Is he okay? And we have to, report it's fine. This was planned. He's good. That's kind of part of it now. That's kind of what wrestling has become in this year, is that in order to gain the investment of the fans, you have to make them believe that the wrestler is hurt when they are selling hurt. Is it a little extreme? Sure. But you do have to go to that length nowadays, because it's not enough, like you said, to take the big move and then sell it. You got it. Where Danielson gets in trouble from most people is that he does it so often that it becomes a bit of a turnoff, which I understand. However, in a match like this, it worked because it got over the emotion of the match. And Will Ospreay, also to his benefit, sold it as he was so jacked up he didn't even notice. And then that played into the finish. And that I really enjoyed. This way of wrestling in 2024, I get it. Everyone's opinions are subjective because it is a subjective media. But to me, having the best match includes the selling and the investment into the action. And that's what Danielson was doing. It was really, really good stuff. But again, doing that for 30 minutes isn't everyone's cup of tea, but this is really good. I really wish Danielson had kind of walked away with the pin, because as some were kind of talking about, myself included, I was off the air, obviously, last week. I didn't get to say it, but a lot of people were talking about how you have Danielson win. You could set up a potential Danielson Ospreay title match down the line and then work it from there. But regardless, Ospreay gets his win back, or they do a best of 3, whatever it is. You could have done that, but instead Ospreay wins because we're marching towards whatever this big thing is for Ospreay, presumably the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. All in all, the match, it delivered as we expected. I'm hoping in the future Justin Roberts doesn't open his remarks with "This is a dream match," and it's like we don't. I don't think we need to make that announcement anymore. But otherwise, there is a lot of really positive stuff coming out of this match and coming hopefully out of this story.
I don't know. I mean, Danielson should have won. The story is going to be now is Will Ospreay unsafe in the ring, and maybe that turns into something. I think he will probably bust out the Storm Driver, Tiger Driver, maybe it all in. It sets up potentially something down the line with Danielson of you tried to end my career and now I'm going to take your title once Ospreay is likely the world champion. There's I would think Ed Moxley should probably want to go after Ospreay of like you tried to take out our guy. There's ways to go with this. Yeah, I by the way, I think Will Ospreay being unsafe is a dumb thing. That was not the best comment by me. I don't think that should be or is the story at all. I think the regret is more the story, like the apologizing for it, and because the medical personnel came in and Ospreay said he didn't see them and just continued with the hidden blade and everything. I think that's clearly the story based on Ospreay. They showed that video. He was helping Danielson to the back. He was checking on him in medical. He of course gave the apology at the press conference and everything. So it shows that he has remorse and is a good fella. While Don Callis is probably going to be like, no, you did everything you needed to do. Don Callis getting any type of heat on this is annoying to me. I don't need fuck you, Don Callis chance in the middle of this match.
Needed more Taz though. I kind of get it. I think a lot of us are waiting for the Don Callis family, Will Ospreay implosion.
Yeah, but he beat all these dudes.
He did. And now we have to get to the point where either Ospreay says, forget this, I'm out of here, bruv, or Callis brings in someone huge as a potential, obstacle for Ospreay to overcome going into all in. All in. I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's somebody who's already on the roster, or if it's a one-off thing, or it's a New Japan star, because Callis did have ties to New Japan back in the day. I don't know who it is, but it feels like
Jericho.
It's Chris Jericho. We did Jericho and Ospreay already. We did that. But there's I'm sure a story this summer coming of Don Callis prepping Will Ospreay while Ospreay's pissed off, and Callis bringing in someone for Forbidden Door, maybe a CMLL star, or maybe just a big, who was Ospreay's biggest opponent in New Japan? Was it Jay White for that longest time?
Okada.
Okada's there already, so we can't do it. Doing Naito wouldn't make sense.
Ibushi.
Naito just lost. Ibushi's out.
Yeah.
This is the thing, right? People are mentioning other people that could be there to face Ospreay, and
David Finlay. That was his last kind of big challenger.
Yeah. And again, like Ibushi can't do it. Omega can't do it as of right now. Okada, I don't think it fits right now because Okada has his own shtick going. People mentioned Finlay. It's got to be someone. There's got to be someone that Don Callis brings in and makes Ospreay have to overcome to get his match eventually at All In. There's got to be someone. Just don't know who it is yet. It's Gabe Kidd. New Japan Strong Openweight Champion, soon to be Gabriel Kidd.
Jinder Mahal.
God bless. That's July. There's no pay-per-view in July.
Yeah, that's a ways away before Jinder's free. So Don't think it's gonna be him. Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy.
Yes. Shout out to John Alba, by the way. He came on to the AEW, it's not AEW, wow, the TNA Rebellion post show on Saturday night with myself and Steven Jensen to talk about his reaction, because he maintains he was kayfabe the whole way. He had no idea that Matt Hardy was coming to TNA. So
I mean, Matt said, I listened to Matt was on Busted Open this weekend. They were better, but Matt
we are
said,
better than Busted Open. Tell your friends.
Matt said that the only people that knew, and again, he could be kayfabing as well, but the only people that knew were his wife and kids. He said he wanted to keep it a very big surprise. He said not even Jeff knew. So, and they kept him backstage the entire time, so he wasn't like walking around, and then people were messaging like, "Oh, Matt Hardy's here. What's up with this?" So, like, I do believe that he didn't really tell anybody, and just he wanted it to be a big surprise.
By the way, that's an impressive feat to have Matt Hardy stay backstage at the Palm Theater, because that place is like the only way that you can do anything at the Palm Theater is to go out and walk around on the casino floor. Like the amount of times that I just saw wrestlers walking around willy-nilly, not in gear, but like walking around getting food at the local McDonald's next door in the food court. Like that place is not good for keeping secrets unless you're sticking around backstage, or you have a direct access to the backstage and there's a bus or something, whatever. Hardy coming back, I know it's elicited a very different response from people. This was
my wife thought it was a goat. That laugh, I was like, oh, Matt Hardy's back, and she's like, huh? How'd you know? I was like, that laugh. She's like, I thought that was some goat on the screen. I'm like, no, that's the broken Matt Hardy laugh.
And it was a night of returns at Rebellion.
It was a goat. It was a goat.
Yes. The goat of Billy's. It's going to be Matt Hardy and Will Ospreay. That's the match. There's a bunch of returns. Let's shift to Rebellion real quick. Matt Hardy comes back. Mike Santana makes his re-debut. He's back in TNA. Macklin has apparently re-signed with TNA, according to him, in what led to Mike Santana's match. We don't know for sure. We don't know. I have asked Macklin, and he has not told me. I'm sure he'll tell other people. And who else was there? The other big surprise. Sami Callihan. Thumbs up, thumbs down. In the most overbooked Knockouts Championship match of all time. That match had more garbage than any other match that night. Jensen and I did not like that match. Yeah, and I don't think many people did. It was not good. And you know what made it even worse was that those who were in the know, PW Insider had reported that preliminary talks had been held about Tessa Blanchard coming back. And once the lights went off, more people were holding their breath, hoping it wasn't Tessa, than they were excited to see what happens when the lights
come. I thought Tessa was going to come out at the end and
challenge. Yeah. Get the title she never lost.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
It was all bad. When that started, nope. I was like, shut it down. Don't do this. But no, it was PCO. And then it was Khan. And then it was, I don't know, man. And then it was Sam.
We definitely needed all these run-ins during the Knockouts match. Definitely.
Of all the matches, there were other matches you could have done this for. Ali versus something to open up the show, though, was really good. Not just saying that because we are paid by Ali to say it, but it was a good match.
Hootie? Something?
Something, yeah.
Nothing?
No, something. You got to say his name. It's
someone.
Something. No, something.
He's facing an object?
Yeah, no, his pronouns are some and thing. Yeah, something. Jake something.
It was a good match, although Jake something did not meet the weight requirement for the X division. And as a member of the Ali cabinet, we are still looking into the allegations surrounding Jake something and the no limits that were part of this match.
Feels like they're going to run that match back. There was a little thing that happened in that match that I really appreciated. And that was the 450 that Ali does has never been kicked out of in TNA until this match. And the way they still protected it further was by having the security, the Secret Service that Ali has, holding down Jake something while he had the 450 hit on him and he kicked out. So it was gray on both ends. So the 450s being kicked out
He's
of
had like 2
kept it off.
matches in TNA.
Ali has had more than 2 matches. He's had about 4 matches in TNA.
No, all right.
But it was a good little extra piece that they added to that. The show was fun overall with Rebellion. It was just that overbooked mess in the Knockouts title match that really turned a lot of
Are you
people.
gonna do the TNA spiel of TNA had a really fun show? Everyone should watch TNA. It's so great.
No, because people are asking if I'm going to go to Montreal for Slammiversary, and I'm like, if they book a
Right.
good show, I will consider it. And if I can find some content to go and film there, then I will do it. But as of right now, it's in July. It's also 2 weeks after SummerSlam or after Money in the Bank, which I plan to be at in a professional capacity. So it's about making time and making sure that Slammiversary is worthwhile for us. If I were to go.
People were, I guess, mad. I don't know what they had opinions about Matt Hardy in TNA.
How dare they?
I didn't find if you want to get like, oh, Matt Hardy, wow, he teased all this stuff and he just ended up in TNA. You accept TNA for what it is. It's a good place for wrestlers to work some television, to do some different things, to try some ideas out, and also, for the most part, take some independent bookings and stay active. That's what it is. It's not challenging AEW. It has its little foothold. They always do good pay-per-views. Sadly, no one pays attention to their television except for Joel and Cresta. And it's not to say their television's bad or anything.
And they're wrestlers.
Well, yeah. It's not to say their television's bad or anything. It's just there's a lot of wrestling on television, and TNA is at the bottom of, or near the bottom of that list. When you get through all your WWE and you get through all your AEW, it's like, oh, do I still have 2 hours to spare to watch TNA? And not everybody does, and I get it. But people are getting paid. People get to go out there, do cool new ideas or old ideas, and good on them. Bringing in Matt Hardy, no, I don't think there's anybody out there that's this big game changer for TNA. There's not. Unless they're bringing John Cena or something, and that ship has sailed. But like, it's not there. But bringing in Matt Hardy, doing the broken stuff, that was big in 2016. Maybe they can recapture something with that now, and maybe they'll get some extra eyes and stuff. King Potato saying they lost all momentum after firing D'Amore. Like, yes, but I don't think they were gonna carry a lot of that momentum. Go ahead.
My pushback to that is, I think both statements are right, by the way, because King Potato saying D'Amore's release kind of lost all momentum. It halted a lot of positive fan feedback
Yes.
that had been built, and that got a lot of people upset because a lot of people were attached to Scott as the public face and the backstage face at TNA. How many wrestlers did we talk to both on and off the air that spoke highly about Scott's impact on the product? There was that. I think things would have tapered. And I made the same comments when Hard to Kill came around. I said the pay-per-view is going to be fun. The TV tapings, the Snake Eyes tapings are going to be great because they've got Ospreay and they got Okada. And then after that, it's what they do in Orlando. That was the next set of TV tapings. That's going to set the tone for what the new TNA is supposed to look like. And then everything kind of went by the wayside after those tapings because Scott was fired a week before No Surrender. And that just kind of took all the air out of the sails, out of the wind out of the sails. And as a result, a lot of fans who were just getting back into TNA or had been longtime TNA fans, they kind of pulled back because they're like, well, the guy who was largely in charge and known for being here is gone. So why bother?
I think that's correct. People are saying I haven't watched since Scott left and I got fired. Like, I understand that. I think eventually, and maybe they would have given a little bit longer on there, but I think eventually TNA is just at the place that they're at, and it's tough for them to really keep any momentum and continue to build momentum because of the way they tape television, because it's not live, because people bounce around different companies and everything. I said one of the biggest momentum losses was, hey, we have Mustafa Ali and Nick Nemeth. These are big surprises for Hard to Kill. Are they on the next set of shows? No, Nick's in Japan and Ali's just working around the indies and stuff. And like they just couldn't get them together. They finally got them on the same show this past weekend, but it's just they're at where they're at. And with all the wrestling that's on, that's just where they're probably going to continue to be at. Good on Matt Hardy that he's there. He's still a free agent, but he's going to go in there. He's going to get to do the broken stuff. Some people will enjoy that, and other people are going to be like, it's not 2016. What do we need to do all this stuff for? And that's fine. There's plenty of other stuff to watch. But I'm not mad at Matt Hardy that he's going to make this living. I'm not mad at TNA for bringing him in.
They did it with Nick Aldis last year. They brought in Nick Aldis, and I get it that Aldis is younger than Matt Hardy, but it's if you want to talk about well-known TNA stars of the past coming back to either collect a paycheck or have a storyline now, like if you make it make sense, that's fine. I can tell you Matt Hardy did not appear in front of the live crowd in Vegas at the tapings. That leads me to believe that they are going to do a lot of really fun backstage bits with Matt, and
they're gonna do Hardy compound stuff. Matt talked about it.
100%, exactly, and Matt talking about that confirms a lot of what I thought was going to happen, and that's okay. That's what made Hardy's popular in TNA, and if you do that, that'll bring a few eyes to the table. Matt Hardy isn't going to get paid millions of dollars to do these PPAs because that's what it is. He said it himself. He's still a free agent. He has not signed a contract with TNA. He is on a pay-per appearance. How long that lasts is entirely up to TNA and Matt Hardy and what they want to do in terms of storytelling. It could be it's not going to be Under Siege because they already have a number one contender set. It could be Against All Odds, which is the Chicago show in June. It could be Slammiversary. Although I would rather not have Matt Hardy versus Moose at Slammiversary in Montreal because I think there are better matches you could do. But also Slammiversary last year, they ran Nick Aldis versus Alex Shelley. So who the hell am I? There's a reason Matt Hardy's back. I think to a lot of TNA fans, this is a really good thing. And to some people, they just want to, make fun of Matt Hardy being back in TNA. Sure, whatever. Then don't watch it. That's fine. There are a lot of really cool things about TNA that do exist. Someone was asking about Giselle Shaw earlier, by the way. She's fine. She recently got cleared to come back. She's waiting for creative. As far as I know, they were planning a face turn for her because she's been working heel for so long. It's almost time to just try something new with her. So, take that as you will. Give Matt Hardy money. He's fine.
I think Matt Hardy's doing well. He's making good money.
Yeah. He's going to be fine, and he's going to be, honestly, I think he's going to bring a different side of entertainment to TNA, and that's fine with me. Am I going to love everything? No. Did I love Wrestle House the first time? Yes. So who am I? The rest of the show, though, there were a lot of really strong moments. There's some good stuff. If you're going to watch you want to watch a good tag team wrestling match, I will say that the System versus Speedball Mountain was a very solid match. I put over those two teams a lot. Speedball Mountain, that's Trent Seven and Speedball. They have fantastic tag team finishers, a 1A and a 1B, and so do the System. So do Myers and Edwards. They put those on display. Go watch that match. I think that's worth watching. And then Nemeth and Moose was fine. It was fine. I'm just going to leave it at that. Looking forward to Hot Young Briley showing up in TNA.
Yeah, that seems to be a thing. Good on them. I can't wait for their big comedy session making fun of Moose.
Oh no. Oh no. Just Joe Hendry should be doing the comedy. Just leave it to Joe. I've seen stand up with Nick Nemeth. It's not very good.
Joe Hendry using AI. Take that, Drake. Talk about the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef.
No, they did that on Grapsity for the first 45 minutes of their show. So there's nothing I can add to it because they already talked about it.
I gotta get on that show and talk about rap.
You should.
You're no fun because you
No,
don't keep up with it.
I'm not a rap guy. I'm not. I'm sorry. Did find out that Simon Miller does some content of his own. A metal fan listens to hip hop for the first time.
Oh,
That's
okay.
pretty cool. I like Simon, so that's something I would watch, something I would participate in. The AI thing on TNA was more
No.
nightmare fuel than anything.
Louise. Yes, Louise is talking about.
No, I know
Trey.
that, but I'm adding my 2 cents on the TNA part of it. It was nightmare fuel more than anything.
Do you think I could battle an AI Top Dollar?
I would love to see it. I would love to watch that.
Dude, that Drake song sucked. His flow with Tupac, oh my god. I made it like 20 seconds into the verse and I had to like just stop it. I was like, no, what are we doing here? What is happening? Drake flow trying to be Tupac was honestly, he upset the rap gods, not Eminem, but he upset them with that. Kendrick's got to respond. But maybe he just wants Drake to continue to look bad.
We just got a tweet from someone who said, "How dare you play that Taylor Swift intro today? I was watching In the Weeds on full screen at the airport."
That rules. That rules.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, Luis, the Snoop, Snoop's portion with the Drake's flow also bad. The whole AI portion was just bad. I was more aggravated with the Tupac flow though. Like the Snoop stuff wasn't good either. It wasn't even like a West Coast beat. It's just Drake. It's just Drake using AI with his flow. It sucked. It sucked.
Listen, AI in music sucks. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. It's not worth it. Anyway, Raw's tonight.
Allegedly.
Got a few things on the docket. Gunther returns to Raw. Allegedly. What will Gunther do next? Will he take the Creeds and not Sammy?
Creeds.
Yeah.
Gable's hanging out with Creeds.
Gable and the Creeds. He's gonna take Gable and the Creeds and be like, "Come, join the new Imperium."
No.
And Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, you're losers. Go be losers elsewhere. And Sammy's gonna make a new League of Nations.
I actually don't know what Gunther's going to do. I'm very curious as to what he does. He shouldn't be doing anything with the Intercontinental title. He had his reign. It was one of the best reigns we've seen in a very long time. He can't really go into the world title picture just yet because Jay is there with Priest. But I think that's where he should end up sooner rather than later. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm very curious as to what they do with Gunther. The draft is coming up, so I don't even know if they're going to get him in like a full-on story until they shift all the pieces around at the draft. So I think it might just be
going to say, I'm here, I'm back, and I'm going to be in the draft. And I think
I think it might just be a State of Gunther address type of thing. I wouldn't expect anything too major with the draft coming up on Friday.
Maybe do a little thing with like, I don't care if I get drafted with my boys. I'll go solo if I need to. It's not going to be Imperium in the draft. It's going to be Gunther solo. The two of you, good luck to you. It could be as easy as that.
I'm not mad at that. I'd be a little curious to see what that would mean for Kaiser and Vinci. They tried like making Kaiser a singles dude for a stretch, and then they just kind of didn't go anywhere with it. And he's just back to doing tag team stuff. So we'll see.
Ricochet and Andrade team up to take on the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, and I'm assuming, oh no, it's the other one. It's Big Head and Dominic.
Oh. All right.
Anyway, so that's what's happening. Awesome Truth versus DIY for the World Tag Team titles. That'll be a fun match, right?
Yeah, DIY is going to do a bunch of DX spots, and Truth is going to be funny. And
Truth is going to fall for them. Yeah. Truth is going to do the X, and he's going to do the suck it, and Miz is going to be like, "No, we don't do that anymore. Awesome!" And then he's going to declare for the G1.
That sounds about right.
Fine by me. If DIY wins the tag titles, I wouldn't be upset about that.
It's too early for that. No.
No, you want to have them hold on at least until the next PLE?
Yeah, I don't think DIY is winning right here. Like, Awesome Truth just got the titles. Feels like they're gonna keep them for a little bit.
Would you have the Creeds turn in a tag team situation or turn with a Gable moment? Like Sammy's beating up Gable and like getting his comeuppance, and then the Creeds stop Sammy and beat him up. Or would you rather they get involved in this tag match and insert themselves into the tag title scene?
I actually like that. Just have the Creeds come out and wreck all four of these dudes. And then you can do a moment maybe like backstage with Gable being like, I'm impressed by the cut of your jib. And
I trained you well.
yeah, you do something like that instead of like turning on Sammy with Gable. I like that.
Because otherwise, what are they going to do? They're going to do the Creeds versus Alpha Academy, and they're going to completely telegraph everything and be like, all right, here we go. Which honestly, if someone else was booking a year ago, probably what would have done. But I like the idea instead of just having the Creeds come out, say we're sick of this shit, and then have Gable be like, I like the cut of your jib. We trained together. Let's work together. And they move on. And then Alpha Academy can come in and be like, hey, what the hell? And then they can have a squash and let it set up that way instead of, a match out of nowhere.
Poor Otis and Tozawa.
Yeah, but Otis taking one of those Brutus balls would be hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know how well that would end for him.
Just bounces off his stomach. I'm all for it. And then the women's championship is going to be decided in a battle royal. Tell you who's not going to be a part of that, even though she was advertised. Sorry. That was the weirdest thing to me. We found out later that the reason why Xia Li was promoted and then got a release was because they kept the releases close to the vest and Digital didn't know. So
there were respectful releases, Joel.
So we've been told they were called hours ahead. I don't know what it looks like. Listen, a lot of these people are going to land on their feet. This is one of those times where it's like, again, everyone involved. It sucks when they lose their jobs. None of these people were being shown on TV. They weren't a focus anywhere. And so that was it. That's it. They'll go.
Little curious. You're releasing Veer, Sangha, Jinder, all Indian talent, all at the same time. Sangha made reference to it of you say you want these viewership numbers in India, and then you don't have any talent over here. Like,
did they sign their India deal?
What?
Did WWE sign their India deal?
I don't know if all the Netflix stuff goes. It's just now
they are part of it.
Okay, well,
Sony Pictures India owns WWE rights in India.
No, I don't know. They did the what was the show called? Superstar Spectacle, and like that show that was just in India. That show never made its way to American TV at all. We can't watch that show. I'm sure people probably forgot it existed because it was just, hey, here were the results from it. I don't know. The talent they released, they weren't really using them. A lot of them had time to improve. They were at where they were at. On that hand, I like, okay, sure. But you look at who they released, it's a little curious.
Yeah, it is. I'm just looking. It was 2020. Sony Pictures Networks India signed an expanded 5-year deal with WWE.
Yeah, they were going to have the big, like, Indian reality show to find the next great Indian WWE superstar. And we never heard anything about that. It just feels like things might have just gone a little south with that deal. And so WWE said, okay, we don't need to make this big impact in India. So long to our indie talent.
Yeah, and a lot of them are going to show up, and a lot of them are going to do some pretty cool stuff on the indies moving forward, or maybe they'll sign elsewhere to a major company. The jokes have already come around about Jinder having matches against people like Hook. I'm fine with that. Let's go. But other than that, I mean, Jinder could excel anywhere. Xia Li's someone who can go have that kickboxing match she finally wants to have, beat the shit out of them, and just go wherever she wants. And then Veer and Sangha, there's room there for developmental talent. It's good.
I think Xia Li, if she wants to continue, will be all right. I don't know what the desires of Jinder, Veer, Tsanga, Zion Quinn are. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat of them and how they were in the ring. They were what they were. They were given opportunities. I think they could have done a little bit more in NXT because they were doing pretty well down there, but they were at where they're at. Look, we're not going to retcon and say Jinder Mahal's title reign was great because it wasn't. Just because he, popped the number in India, maybe. Like, it wasn't a good title reign. Go ahead.
Sorry, some breaking news. It is official.
Oh, no.
NXT Battleground will be at the Apex on Saturday, June the 9th.
Oh, okay.
UFC and WWE have just announced that.
All right.
That's gonna be a thing. UFC Apex, that's in Vegas. No, I'm not going. Stop going to Vegas. Stop manifesting things in Vegas. You go broke. It is. I passed the Apex. But yeah, NXT Battleground is going to be there. It's not a big room. It's about a 500, isn't it?
I hope they don't shuffle. I don't know if people will get this reference, but hope they don't. They're going to have to shuffle family members in and out after the matches take place. This is a real thing, by the way.
This I remember hearing about. Yes.
That UFC does. It's like you get like 5 comp tickets, we'll say. It's like, hey, you can have your family comped for this fight that you're going to be at this Apex. After your fight is over, they got to leave the Apex entirely so we can bring in the next family members for their fight.
It's funny because I was going to say WWE does something similar, but they don't kick you out. They just take you backstage, right? They trot you out from backstage. You sit in like the first, 6 or 7 seats in the front row on the hard camera side, where like not facing hard cam, but the other side. And that's that's how you watch if you're friends and family, if you haven't been comped for the entire show. So I didn't remember that they kick your ass out completely.
Yeah. They're like, you got to go outside. You go tailgate or something, put it up on one of the TV screens there, but you cannot stay in the Apex. We got to get the next family in here.
So there you go. Battleground at the Apex. Can you believe it? Trick Williams' first NXT title match is going to be in the UFC Apex. Oh dear. Women's World Championship tonight. Like, we kind of got sidetracked. It's going to be Battle Royal. Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Natalya, Tegan Nox, Ivy Nile, Maxine Dupree, Katana Chance, Caden Carter, Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell. Candice LeRae has to win the World Women's Championship. Just beat the shit out of all these people and win the match. I think that's what we should do.
I actually do think that Candice LeRae should win. She should shoot, just like not go over the top rope.
Yes, I was going to say,
nope.
All of them.
It's like, I'm not going over this top rope here.
Luis, by the way, mentioning they got to do a fight pit match now that they have the Apex for that show. They very well could. I don't know who they'd have because now NXT Underground matches. They got Dempsey, I guess, but like now the NXT Underground is their version of that. So I don't know what they'll do. Anyway, Battle Royal. Who's gonna win and why should it be Candice LeRae?
It should be Candice. I do think that it seems like Liv, potentially Nia. I'm not opposed to like Nia kind of winning this thing. Becky is always an obvious choice, but I don't know, Becky, was she supposed to take time off? Was she not? Did things kind of change for her because of Rhea's injury, or was she always just going to work that European tour? Not sure. Contract situation still there with Becky. Isn't reportedly no report of her re-signing yet, so not sure how that goes. I I think those are your top 3 candidates. I'd be surprised if it was anyone else.
I would like a surprise.
Who? Okay, so who do you think they should put it on?
Someone said Maxine. No, that's the thing, right? Who would be big enough as a surprise? On this list, no one really jumps out. Ivy Nile, Tegan Knox, Shayna Baszler. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not sold to these, but Shayna Baszler, that's someone that I wouldn't hate seeing win this thing. And the title it doesn't have to be long. They could do a Shayna versus Liv Morgan or Shayna versus Nia, whatever. You could do Shayna Baszler. Becky's in this thing, so a lot of people are assuming Becky's going to win. Maybe not necessarily. I'd like a surprise that's not Liv, Nia, or Becky.
Well, again, I asked for names. You said Shayna. Okay. I'm not mad at Shayna. Ivy Nile, they've done nothing with. Like, don't do a surprise just to do a freaking surprise.
Right,
thing.
and that's why.
Tegan Knox?
Nothing. I agree.
No offense to Tegan, but like, no.
No, they haven't told any stories with Tegan Knox, whereas someone like Shayna has at least been in world title matches, women's world title matches.
Shayna, I can understand. Yeah. Zoe, like, you know, King Potato mentions Zoe. Yeah, but like he says, like, they haven't really done anything with her to where I'm like, oh yeah, this is a person we can kind of go with. Do we get a random surprise? Like, these are the advertised names. It doesn't mean these are the only names that are going to show up. What if a storm brews? Joel Pearl?
They have 15 announced.
Well, Xia Li's not there though.
No, Xia Li's not on this list either.
Oh, okay.
So they have 15 announced, which is usually pretty good for a battle royal.
What if a storm brews, Joel?
Yeah, I don't like that this title has to be put up now with the draft coming this week, like at the end of the week. That's what kind of makes things a little messy, and that's why it's like I get why they would do
that's
Nia, whoever, because it's going to make them on Raw, and that's going to put them on Raw. Whereas bringing someone over from SmackDown almost telegraphs that they're going to be on Raw moving forward as Women's World Champion.
Well, that's also why I think you're going to have the title on a Becky or a Liv, maybe Nia, because they do a good job of we're going to draft our champions pretty high. Like that, those are typically the first couple of picks. I have a hard time believing they're going to be like, hey, let's make Shayna Baszler the number 2 pick in this draft when Becky is available, Jade, Naomi, Bianca, Bailey. Like it's tough for me to be like, oh yeah, they're gonna take Shayna Baszler here after the way they've. This is no knock on Shayna. I think Shayna's fantastic. I think you could make her somebody viable. They just haven't done it, and I'm looking at people they've actually invested in over the past few months, and it's really just Becky, Liv, and to a lesser extent Nia.
Yeah, there's nobody else on this list and nobody else that's just waiting in the wings unless they bring in like a Roxanne Perez, but she's also the NXT Women's Champion, so that doesn't work either.
I think a storm could brew, Joel. I think a storm could brew.
I'm not there.
You know who I actually wouldn't mind here?
Who?
People are saying Alexa Bliss. I don't know if Alexa's returning. Naomi's in the title picture with Tiffany and Bailey right now, and so it looks like they're going to go with a triple threat match there. Naomi coming in here and winning this belt, I wouldn't be mad at.
So yes, but again, then you got to go to Backlash in France and do this triple threat match. And one title's going to be on the line, not both.
You don't have to do the triple threat match.
So you just pivot to Tiffany, and Naomi's like, I got what I want. I'm good.
Yeah.
I like you could, but I feel like there's a big hole of just not having the babyface want their comeuppance on the heel that took her out from the title match she was in. There's a bit of a lack of storytelling or psychology or just, a dictation there.
I mean, I agree, and I think that's why Naomi won't be part of this, and because they have kind of set up this triple threat match, and you're probably not going to do title for title or winner take all type of thing, and you do want to follow up on that because that's what you did on SmackDown, and obviously you knew this battle royal was happening when you booked this SmackDown match. What if Io comes in, wins this battle royal? We haven't seen her on TV since Mania.
No, you did. She was in SmackDown. She was up in the box.
Oh, she was just hanging out, sure.
Yeah, but she's been on TV.
Okay, right, but she hasn't done any wrestling or anything.
Correct. Yeah, that's
so right. Io could come in, win this title.
They should all go into the show. Like they all of Damage Control should be in the battle royal. Make it a 20-woman battle royal.
My top pick is Becky, followed by Liv, followed by Jade Cargill. Congratulations to Nia Jax on winning the title.
That's pretty much where I'm at too. I think Nia Jax. I think it's a heel that wins, and then, but again, the timeline on Rhea Ripley is also a question. So we'll see. Some people have mentioned Chelsea Green. I'm still a fan of doing Chelsea Green winning the Money in the Bank briefcase in Toronto. Make it a thing. I hope to God that she's part of the media junket when Money in the Bank comes to Toronto. It would be heartbreaking if she weren't, because that's a conversation I would love to have.
You are not putting the title on Chelsea Green. I think it'd be great.
Tonight. Not
Love
tonight.
Chelsea Green.
Yeah, you're not doing it tonight, but sometime during the summer.
I think they're going to go with a bigger name because the draft. If the draft wasn't this week, maybe you could get away with not doing a bigger name, and they do a good job of the draft of making sure those champions get picked high. And I have a very hard time believing they're going to be like, yeah, even though she's a champion, we're going to select Ivy Nile ahead of other women on the roster. They just haven't put there's no knock on these women. They have not put the stock and the backing behind them over the past few months. They've put it in Becky. They've put it in Liv. They were putting it in Nia for the first part of the year, but then, she lost the matches she should have lost, and it hasn't been there since. That's why I think you maybe get somebody from SmackDown, like an Io, like a Jade, coming in here and winning.
I think Nia's just going to win. I just think that
this
is almost the failing up reward. You put on these great matches with these women that you needed to put over. You put them over very strongly going into WrestleMania. This is a shitty situation with Rhea, but you've proven that you can. So here you go. And now what that means is how long until Rhea comes back, because all eyes are going to be on her in that return. So it'll be on Nia to tell the stories. But again, people will be wondering what happens when Rhea gets back. That's where I'm at.
I don't know how long Rhea's out for. It seems like it's going to be a few months. And then it feels like Liv should probably be the champion when Rhea is back. So Liv can, and maybe Liv is the heel taunting, returning babyface Rhea Ripley. Look, I got this title. Ha ha ha. Come take it. I injured you.
Anyway, I got nothing else to talk about. Do you?
The Oklahoma City Thunder up 1-0 in the playoffs. Game 2 is Wednesday night. So one more show of me not being he has play on Tuesday, so Wednesday could be really bad if we're down 0-2. But Thunder up, everybody. Thunder up. That's all.
So I'm very excited about that.
Well, we won last night, so it's tough to be down about it. It wasn't the best performance in the world, but at the end of the day, we're up 1-0. We'll take that. And hopefully, young team, some learning lessons. Hopefully, we take those, move forward, and we come out strong on Wednesday. Thunder up though. I'll be watching Lakers and Nuggets tonight, not wrestling. Sixers and Knicks as well, not wrestling. I enjoy the wrestling, everybody. Playoff basketball's on.
I will check the Raw plans on Fightful Select, and I will determine whether or not I watch Raw live or on Tuesday during my day off. How's that?
It's your life, Joel.
Let me
Did you
have that.
listen? Did you listen to the Taylor Swift album? Do you have a review of it?
I am Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll be back on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.